Hello and good evening. My name is Aytekin Şen. I am from Aksaray. Today I'm going to do my second round impromptu speech. And I would like to introduce you my mother, who is at present listening to my impromptu speech round 2. As you can see, she's waving at you. I wanted to bring my father as well as a second listener for appropriate public speaking. However, he is not well at the moment. Also, he is a little bit moody person for this kind of actions. That's why it has been a little bit hard for me to make him appear in front of the camera. That's why I would like to give my apologies to Professor about any inconveniences. I would like to give my thanks to Professor because I feel very lucky at the moment, as I'm going to talk about a subject I love very much, and I will enjoy talking about this topic, and I hope you will also be entertained listening to my speech about the neighborhood in my childhood. The time era that I was born was the best of my lifetime. When we were kids, the neighborhood culture we lived in was very much different to the neighborhood culture we are living at this present. First of all, we did not have any technology for internet and smartphones. We only had cable phones. Not possessing the internet technology meant we spent most of our times outside playing games with our friends from the surrounding neighborhood. We used to play numbers of different plays with our friends in our neighborhoods. I would like to give some of the names of these games. Perhaps those who are listening to my video from the same generation might remember these games. And they are Birdir Bir, Uzun Eşek, Hamam Kızdı, Yağlı Kayış, Körebe, Köşe Kapmaca. Also, our child friends from the surrounding neighbors used to visit us to watch cartoons together. I would like to give you some of these cartoons names as well. Tom and Jerry, Varyemez Amca, Voltron, He-Man, Temel Reis. We had our grandparents at that time, and whenever we were bored, we would visit them and stay in their house at the weekends. There were not much buildings around our neighborhood. Instead, there were large areas with trees, and lots of birds used to fly over these trees. We used to make swings to these trees, and we used to sway ourselves over these swings. There were quite many plum and apricot trees around our neighborhood, and we were able to eat plums and apricots in the summer times. Also, in the neighborhood I lived as a child, we used to bake our own breads in the tandoori. We used to grow our own organic tomatoes, cucumbers, onions, and other types of vegetables. In the spring times, we used to celebrate the spring by going to picnic as a family, and it was called as Hıdrellez. When the summer times arrived, I usually went to our village where my other grandparents lived, and I used to help them harvesting their crops, help them herding their cattle and sheep, and feed the animals. When the fall season arrived, I would return back to my parents' house to our own neighborhood and would start my school. The neighborhood I lived in my childhood era was not so crowded, and everyone would recognize one another. Because everyone would trust each other, we did not have much burglary or any other kinds of criminal activities. There was a great understanding of neighborhood in our childhood, especially in the evenings. Usually, after the dinner times, Surrounding neighbor families would visit us, or we would visit them as an evening guest. We would wear fine clothes, smell nice, and put a smile on our faces when we were visiting our neighbors as a guest. When we are let inside of the neighbors' houses, the two families would be united as one, and altogether we would have fine, lovely conversations. The elders used to talk, and we used to listen to our elders. We were treated with Turkish coffee or tea, and we had Turkish delight and biscuits alongside with the tea or coffee in our neighbor's house. Most of the time, we used to watch an action movie from Cüneyt Arkın or a love movie from Kadri Nanar altogether. Also, helping each other was another important subject in our neighborhood. As a conclusion, socializing in our neighborhood in my childhood era was the greatest example of being socialized all throughout of my lifetime. When I remember those beautiful times, people around our neighborhood had a very big smile on their faces, and they were really, really happy. Thank you very much.